Hello, and welcome to the latest edition of our Sustainability Perspectives podcast. My name is Frances Butler, and in this episode, we'll hear from Marcus Stein, CEO of Watron, about the company's digital heating technology, the role of technology and recyclable materials in machines, and the importance of collaboration across the value chain to achieve sustainability goals. Welcome to the podcast, Marcus. I'm sure this will be an interesting conversation. So, first of all, would you be able to briefly introduce yourself for our listeners?
So my name is Marcus. I'm one of the founders and also the CEO of Watron. So I have a background in university. I'm a mechanical engineer and I worked also a little bit in the packaging industry for different machine suppliers. But then finally also worked in university, and the result of my work in university then was founding the company.
So, what inspired you to create the company, to start it?
That's a good question. And so we started in 2016, and I can say it was at the end it was the demand of the market for our technology. So we are, let's say, not typical founders with studies in a business school or something like this. Yeah, we are mechanical engineers, but we developed the technology, I think, where the market is really demanding for it. And we already saw at the university that brand owners are facing every day challenges at their production lines. For us, it was clear that innovation on the machinery side is needed. And digital heating, how we call it now today, can bring a big step for the whole industry, because we can bring both together productive processes and sustainable packages. And the funny thing is that our initial product, Zero to Heat, which is a heat plate for blister machines, which allows the reduction of the material consumption by an optimized wall thickness distribution. It was demanded not all because of the sustainable packages, because it was not that topic at this time in 2016, but many companies are looking to optimize their production costs, and our system enabled to reduce their material costs. And this is still the case today. So that's why machine suppliers like GEA and Illich are offering the system in their blister machines. But now there is additional need. And I'm happy about this, that we can also bring benefit for the sustainable packages, or the trend to become sustainable packages.
Kind of on that note, you were talking about some of the challenges that have come up and the reasons why you started the company. So, what do you think the biggest challenges are that the industry is facing, and how can your technology help address that?
Mm. I think at the moment, everyone is talking about bringing sustainable packages from a niche application to really to scale. Yeah, I think that is where is really at the moment everything, or the silver bullet. Because at the end, we are facing a chicken egg problem, I would say, at the moment. I know the numbers from CFVEX. I think you also know this organization. They are saying that still 50% of all flexible packages in Europe are multi-layers and cannot become or cannot easily recycled. And this is especially true for food packaging. If we make machines, and that's, let's say, our vision, if we make machines ready to process monomaterials without a negative impact on output or on quality, we can really create a self-energizing effect. Why this? Because the good thing is on the monomaterials is the higher demand on monomaterials on the brand owner side, it would cause a higher volumes on the material supplier side, which then of course causes a lower price for the monomaterials, which then again causes a higher demand on the brand owner side. And that's why I think we have to overcome this chicken egg problem to make sustainable packages also attractive in terms of costs and prices.
Mm. And I know that you mentioned issues with recycling there, like, for example, to do with layers. So how would you say technology can help with using recyclable materials in machines?
Mm, Maybe I can answer with experience from this year. So I was attending many conferences for sustainable packaging. I was at your conference in Amsterdam, and what I felt a little bit remarkable is that I was one. Maybe and sometimes I was the only one, but sometimes I was one of a few participants working in this machinery part of the value chain. All the discussion went about materials and maybe some new nice packaging concepts, but not about machines and technologies for these machines. And I think this is really a big problem. And for me, it's really the reason why we are struggling, or many brand owners are struggling with their sustainable goals. I think for many people, it's clear we need innovation in the machines that we can make them able to run sustainable packages, and this without the pain in terms of quantity and quality. And this is what innovation for machines can deliver, bring these machines in a status that they can run such materials with these new properties.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could explain a bit more about your digital heating technology and how that works for everyone listening.
Sure. And maybe I can also here answer with an example we did this year. Imagine you are a category manager at one of the big brand owners, let's say for ready meal or bakery. What do you prefer, ready meal or bakery products?
Oh, I would say let's go for bakery. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and of course, I believe you would also support that to change from PET alu PE structures to mono PE structures because of the recyclability. Probably you go to your production plant and ask production manager to test this new kind of materials, which is, I think, the basic approach how to move forward, and ask him to send you a report about the results. And I believe some days later, you will get the report about the big issues during start and stop of the machine, big losses and downtime because of the overheating of the material and materials gluing on the sealing jars, which is the one side. And the other side, he will also inform you about the need to slow down the machine speed, which is, I think, the bigger problem on this report, because we have machines where when you are down gauge or when you slower the machine by 5%, you already have a loss of about 2 million euros in the revenue. So that at the end, the production manager will make a final comment, wait until the BPWR will force us to make this change. And I think it's a better option to have as a category manager to look in both directions. So new kind of materials and new technologies like digital heating. And it's a real case this year. So we mentioned we retrofitted the high production pouch forming, filling and sealing machines, also for bakery machines, bakery products with our digital sealing systems. And the result was that the company now changed to mono PP films and without any negative in terms of production or quality. So the consumers don't see a difference. Often the package is only a different material. And I think that the nice effect is that here we are not only helping that now the system that they claim it's recyclable, these machines now produce 40,000 kilometers of high value mono PP structures. So at the end, also feeding the feedstock for recyclers, with the materials that they can recycle. And this is, I think, an example of what technology can deliver when we are not only focusing on the materials as a combination of technology and materials.
Yeah, and I think on that note, where you're mentioning the combination of technology, the materials, and also working with the recyclers as well. How important do you think collaboration is across that value chain outside of just looking at the machinery and the materials to achieve those kind of sustainability goals?
I think it's obvious, it's essential. The machine suppliers and technology must be more included, I think, in the discussion about GPWR, and also not only in the discussion, also in the budgets. So sorry for saying it. I think it's fair comment that it's not only marketing, it's also we need to invest into your machinery park and into your technologies. Last week, we invited our customers and stakeholders for our first open house, and not only that 70 guests from all part of the value chains went to our facilities here in close to Dresden. We also, for machine suppliers, co-exhibit and went bring machines and showed at the end live how the combination works. So we had machine suppliers for VFFS machines, for cup fillers, and together with material suppliers able to deliver mono material structures. And at the end, the guests were able to see that there's no need to worry that such a change works also in their production machines because they see the blueprint. The other comment I can say also from my experience this year is I think cooperation is essential also, not only if you're thinking about what happens in Europe, it's also very essential for developing countries. So I've been this year, this summer with my family in Sri Lanka, and I saw firsthand the result if you have single portion packs, but not a collecting system, which then causes the pollution of the environment. So I think if we really want this global scale and the global reduction of the impact in the oceans, we also have to think about how we bring this, what we have in Europe, or this, what we develop in Europe, also to other parts of the world. And this can only happen in a cooperation, not only in the value chain, also with big organizations and for example, the Alliance for Zero Plastic Waste, really helping with big projects to also bring innovation into such parts of the world.
I actually wanted to pick up on something you mentioned a little bit earlier, which was you're talking about retrofitting and also new materials. So what do you think about the importance of looking towards new materials, but then also working with what we already have in terms of the retrofitting?
I think when we are talking about scale and the need to scale, if we really want, or let's say, if we really want to succeed with the 2030 goals or 2035, it depends a little bit on who you ask, where this really comes into law, but it cannot only work with, or it cannot be only on new machines, right? It cannot produce that much machines to make this change. So existing machines are, of course, necessary to enable them to also to be part of this change. And I think here, especially our technology with the digital heating have this advantage that they are not only useful for new machines, they can really implement it into various kinds of existing machines. And we did this directly, so with the brand owner in cooperation, so that we are directly retrofitted the machines. We are also where we can, or the customer can choose with machines or working with machine suppliers, so that machine suppliers is retrofitting the machine. And yeah, so that you really have, let's say, in your facilities, that all machines at the end can help you to increase the volume, which is, I think, the key, right? It's not about that one machine, maybe make a niche product, sustainable packages. The whole production plan have to change. And then also you are able as a brand owner to order or to discuss with your material suppliers high volumes, which then again gives a benefit for the costs of the materials.
So kind of touching on the system that you retrofitted and your digital heating technologies, what advantages does it have compared to conventional heating technology?
I think the highlight on digital heating are the very small heating pixels we are using. So the size of such a pixel is 5 millimeters or smaller, which are heating the system and also working as a sensor. So it's both. And so it's controlled. Each pixel is controlled individually. And the pixels are placed, in the case of the sealing jars, behind this very thin metal layer. So they are covered. And so we can also define a sealing profile. But most important as a result, the design enables a very precise and dynamic temperature controls, which allows to run in less than 2 Kelvins or less than 2 grad Celsius, which is really the important thing for monomaterial structures, because the monomaterial structures have a very small processing window. So the variation of temperature, which is allowed to still to have good qualitative products, is much, much smaller than for multi-layers. And that's why this dynamic control of our heating pixels is essential. Yeah, each pixel is aiming to keep the temperature very constant and then can really control his power, heating power, depending on the machine speed and depending on the product. Yeah, for example, if you have a pixel in a 2-layer area of a pouch, heats differently than in a 4-layer area, because there is much more material. So it needs to be heated more than the 2-layer area. And this local temperature control and the combination of this time-defined temperature control is really the key to have a constant and sufficient heating process. So at the end, we are claiming that each heating cycle is controlled individually from each other. That's why it doesn't depend if you are starting the machine. If you restart the machine, you have a good sealing. And this is the essential, let's say, physical principle of our digital heating system, which then results in the benefits we mentioned before, so that machines with this system is enabled to run in this very small processing window of monomaterials without any problems.
Mm. And I think kind of on that note, as a final question, what developments in technology do you want to see in the future?
You mean from our side? From our side, one of the big topic we are working on is to enable the customer also to do an inline quality check based on the data of our heating systems, so that we can directly see contaminations. For example, during the sealing process was also part of our open house. So the company Grunwald, who is producing cup fitting machines, they presented a machine seal which sealed on a PP cup, and was also able to detect contamination of a small piece, for example, of a fruit, or not in the right position or positioning. So this is something which definitely is in our pipeline, I would say. When I look a little bit broader on the packaging and in general, I think which is really a focus is then on the recycling, on the collection and the sorting systems, because I think we need to have a sorting process where we can then be sure that, let's say, to produce recycled materials for food application, that this material is based on packages which were used in the food industry and for food products before. So this connection and then to categorize waste is, I think, is definitely something we need to move on to, at the end, close the cycle that we can bring food packages again in the loop for food packaging.
Well, that's the end of all of our questions for today and our discussion. So, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. It's been really interesting to hear from you.
Thank you very much. And so hope to get some feedback also from the listeners, and looking forward to the next conference on Packaging Europe.
And that brings us to the end of our podcast today. So thank you very much to Marcus for your time and for sharing your insights with us. And for our listeners, we have a new episode coming out every week. So a quick reminder to subscribe to our podcast to make sure you don't miss out. And thank you for listening.